What's going on? What's the word? It's about to awakening, heard all over the world. What's going on? What's the word? It's about to awakening, heard all over the world. Hey yo fam, Betoit, it's time to wake up. Don't hit the snooze button. We gotta gird up, put your sire on. He's the word, you know. We're a light to the nations. We gotta let it show. We were called by the Most High Yah to represent Him. Hallelujah, it's so late.
KEMBO, NATATA Nzambi and Mama NZAMBEZI, and do honor our elevated BAKULU of the light. We want to welcome you all with us. Again, we have our Queen Sister with us, Tabitha. Thank you for being with us again, my sister. We love you. We enjoy you always. And and we want to thank,
Thank you
those
so
of
much.
you. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. And we thank everyone being with us here on Zoom. This is a special day. We're waiting for Bosibore to join us as well. So when she comes, and we'll introduce her also. But we're going to go ahead, and I'm going to share a video with you. And we will go from there as our sister, Queen Tabitha, directs us. So I'm putting this in your hands now, my sister. So
Sieni, Bana Betu, thank you so much. Bayitu, thank you so much. And I'm glad to see you once again in good health and in so much joy and gladness. So we will proceed, and along the way, we will discuss one or two. Remember, this is, I'm not the one teaching you. It's Tata Nzambi who is going to guide us. This is a revelation, and it has been a revelation. Remember Bana Betu when we talked about the Aksumites? Do you remember?
yes.
You hadn't seen people online talking about the Aksumites. You hadn't seen people. Okay, they talked about the temple at Yeha. They talked about the Ethiopians, but we went ahead and talked about the source of the people of Saba, who are the Sabaeans, who went to Yemen, and the Queen of Sheba ruled both Yemen and Ethiopia. And Bana Betu, after some time, boom, online, everybody's talking about the Aksum Empire. Everybody's talking about this empire that existed in East Africa. And it was easy for them to link the story about the Queen of Sheba and about the exploration and about the Nile Valley civilization and the Puntites and okay, they haven't talked about the Macrobians who are Kub in the Bible. They are called Kub in the Bible. So one time, another time, we'll talk about it. So Bana Betu, this is not a waste of time. You know what? Whatever the Most High will drop in our spirit, we will talk about it, and the other people will expound on it and even make us maybe understand better. So we are not bragging. We are just happy that we are supporting each other in this kind of revelation from Tatanzan. Yes. Okay. We will just play these short clips, and then later on you can go and do your own research, because if we play long videos, we might not be able to really pick the point, because this is a wide topic. African history is a very big, a wide topic that has a very big range of things, archaeology, history, culture, and so many things. So at least you will pick one or two things, and then from there we will proceed, and I will let you know why we are looking at this perspective of exploration to get to our calendar topic. Why we are starting from here? Because you have to have a beginning, and then you have to have a middle, and you have to have a conclusion, isn't it?
Yes.
All right, you can go ahead, Dada.
No.
Yeah. Welcome all. Thank you so much.
You shared that, they able to see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Misunderstanding of African capacity. The Africans had ships. This is one of them. This is in East Africa. This ship, this is just a model which I found in Fort Mombasa in Kenya. This ship is a 70-tonner. Ships like these in the 13th century before Columbus took elephants to China, right across the Indian Ocean. But this is just, they had ships like this in East Africa before Christ, but there were ships in North Africa along the Mediterranean that were far more sophisticated than any ships the Europeans had. European shipping is not even European. The sail Columbus used comes out of the Arab-African world. The astrolabe comes out of the Arab-African world. There is a profound misunderstanding of.
Were y'all able to see that and hear it okay?
Yes, I heard the clip.
Yeah, the sound is okay. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yes.
You can let us share. You can let us share Dada in the group so that they can get the links to that TikTok account, and they can revisit the account and check the story.
Okay, we'll do.
It's clear. Yeah, it's loud and clear. All right. Is that it's over?
Yes, that was the
first
end
one.
of the first one.
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Okay. Okay, let me just do an introduction. I'm not going to talk much before we go to the next one. I just want to explain why we are doing this. It's not for entertainment purposes. It's for knowledge and so many more. Okay, trying to get the real history of Africa and its people can be very difficult in most times, since the system, especially the elite and Western so-called scholars, control information. In order to suppress the rising of native people, especially melanated Afro people, they have hidden the truth and written history in their favor. In their favor instead. They have whitewashed African stories, statues, sculptures, paintings, etc. Most of the revealing artifacts are not in the hands of the original people, but people who are private collectors of archaeology and history. Most artifacts never made it to the museums. So this is the reason why whenever you go to museums, you'll not get the full story, the full coverage. You just see maybe a quarter of the artifacts. But others, most of the artifacts are in the hands of private collectors who make money out of them. And so the history is hidden. So we have this historian, our own from Guyana, British Guyana. He's called Dr. Ivan van Satima, but now he's late. And he dug into the truth in the history of South America, and he's an amazing person to listen to, and you're going to get a lot of knowledge. So you can go to his to the YouTube, and you'll find some videos, and he explains perfectly what happened and what has happened to us, and how they have hidden and even threatened people who try to expose the Black history. Why are we having a conversation about the calendar? In order to understand how the African world influenced civilizations throughout the world, we need to study about this. This is one of the topics we need to study about. So all is not lost, my people. We can emancipate ourselves and rise again. So how do you find your history, especially African ancient past? You are in America, you say you don't know your history, you just know your history from maybe 1500s. No, your history didn't start from 1500s. You have to go beyond that. And how do you go beyond that? I will give you a clue. Start with the river Nile. It doesn't mean if your ancestors were taken from the west coast of Africa, it doesn't mean that you belonged only in the west coast, because Africa was a community that always migrated. It was a community that had different cultures, but they were intertwined and they all participated in the civilization. So start with the river Nile. If you start with the Nile, where the first civilizations began, that is the recorded civilization, it will be easier for you. It will be, this is the advice I'm giving you. So start with the river Nile, especially Kush, because Nimrod founded Babylon and he was the first ruler who built cities, you see? So when you go to Kush, start with this guy. Yeah, start with Kush. You will really get the right history. Like everything will unfold. Have you ever seen when you're playing like a puzzle or a certain game? You find that when you start from a certain point, it's easy for you to connect the dots and to get the puzzle right. But when you start from another point, it becomes difficult for you. So this is the technique. Start with the Nile. Then find the descendants of Kush. Look for the descendants of Kush, where they are at. They are located in the Sahara. They are called now Nilo-Saharans. Remember, not everybody called a Nilot is from an Egyptian. Nilo means anybody who lived in the Nile Valley, anybody who has his roots from the Nile Valley. And Nile encompasses the Sahara as well, because this Sahara depended on the Nile as well. And these Saharans always migrated from the Nile through the Sahara, because through the Sahara there was a trade route. You see, you're in the Nile Valley. It doesn't mean you're not going to move from the Nile Valley. You're just going to stay there. You need goods, you need to trade, so you need to move about, isn't it? So the Nilo-Saharans, majority of them are Kushites. So located along the Nile River and Great Lakes region, we have Kushites over there. Located in Sudan, yes, they are also located in Sudan and most parts of East Africa and the Horn of Africa. So Kushites are among those people. Now that you know the Kushites, their original homeland is Africa. So they are still alive, they are still there. So their identity has not been lost. These are the people who never lost their identity. The Sumerians disappeared, the others disappeared, but the Kushites have always been there. So once you find the Kushites and follow their migrations and trade routes, then you will know which way the African civilization is going, because it's like they erased the history of the Egyptians, but the history of the Kushites is still intact. Like you can collect piece by piece. So Kushites, how do you know that Kushites were in a certain locations? Kushites built pyramids, not only them, but together with other people. They built irrigation canals like what you see in Yemen. So they were there. They had unique pottery. They had a written system. They were genius in building. They were geniuses in medicine and astronomy. They ruled Arabia and parts of Asia. They built steles and rock churches. That rock church in Ethiopia, those are not Hebrews who built those rock churches. These people are coming from the Cushitic bloodline. So they built boats, and they were among early explorers and navigators. So what does this tell us? That Kush, whose father was a Nimrod, he was a mighty man in the world, and he was a father of black people, and these black people did all these great things. And so that means the first ever civilization was a black civilization, isn't it?
Yes.
So they ruled Africa at one point. Africa was known as Kush or Ethiopia because they dominated. So it was named after them at one point. They kept cattle, camels, they did agriculture, they kept animals. Okay, some to this day they do the same. So some Kushites, together with other groups of people, including original Egyptians, migrated to what's now known as West Africa. Yes, people migrated through that, and they had boats. There were so many rivers and so many lakes in Africa before the Sahara dried. So they could migrate from one place to another. So they mingled with inhabitants in those regions and created civilizations. So they expanded pastoralism, shipping, trade and navigation, metalwork. What you see, there is metalwork in East Africa. There is early Bronze Age and metalwork in West Africa. It's like a duplicate. Whatever you see in East Africa is what you see in West Africa. It's what you will see in the Central Africa, and it's what you will see in Southern Africa. So you see that the African people were not people who had boundaries, like physical boundaries. They are people who mingled together at one particular time or the other, and they kept migrating. Africa was built by different groups of people, and they all had a contribution. Once you find the trade routes, so this is what I want to insist. Look for the trade routes. If you want to know that slavery happened, of course, we look at the trade routes. We know that these Spaniards and these Portuguese are looking for a sea route to India, and when they reached South Africa, they took some people, they stole some cattle, and when they reached Angola, they did this, and when they reached East Africa in Kenya, they tried also to stay there. They started by trading, but they wanted more, and the Omani Arabs and the other people chased them away, and they built, these people built a fort. It's called Fort Jesus. It's there in Mombasa, which is a proof that the Portuguese were here in the east coast of Africa. Because Fort Jesus is there. You see, it's a mark. It's a mark. So
Yes.
when you follow the trade routes, you will know who enslaved who carried who, from which port, using what kind of ship, and where did they take these people. You will get the information. The trade routes, Asian trade routes, are very, very important. The trade routes were for, the better of the people, the betterment of the people, to bring wealth. But we have people who used the same trade routes to commit crimes against humanity. All right, they did slavery, colonization. What was meant for good, they used it in a bad way. So once you find the trade routes on the Sahara, on the Indian Ocean, Atlantic, the Red Sea, the Mediterranean, the Red Sea, we say that the Aksumites traded with the Romans, and they traded with the Greeks, and they traded with the Arabs and Asians here on the Red Sea, isn't it? On the Mediterranean, we had these Phoenicians. The Phoenicians were not like, I can't say they were people, nowadays nobody understands who are the Phoenicians, but the Phoenicians were also in the east coast of Africa.
Yes.
But since people have burnt the libraries, since people burnt books, since people destroyed a lot of evidence, so they don't want really to tell us the source of these Phoenicians. But in the near future, the Most High will reveal to us who are these Phoenicians, right? So,
You was talking about the Phoenician real quickly. When we do a little research on that, we'll see that was the Greeks called the quote unquote Canaanites the Phoenicians.
Yes.
So exactly. It was, exactly. And they said that they were over in the areas. And I want to ask you a question too, real quick. I'm going to jump. You were talking about the Kushites, right? Over there in Nubia. So where did that term come from? Is that an African term? Did they refer to themselves as that? Or was it something that was attributed to them by the Europeans, the colonizers?
Good question.
I was told that there were some tribes, some Cushitic tribes who called themselves even by that name, Kush and even Kam. like Ham Kush. They call
Mm-hmm.
themselves by that. And then there is a lot of evidence that they were Kushites because of the language
Mm-hmm.
and also the way they dress. They still keep camels. They still keep a lot of cows and goats and sheep. They still do what the Kushites did those days. There are so many. There's a lot of proof. There's a lot of proof that they are Kushites, and we don't expect to find Kushites very, very far from the Nile. So, okay, when these Europeans came now to Africa to classify people in languages, they had to remove some of the people who had Cushitic bloodline and call them Nilotes. Nilotes is not a term. Nilotes is just from Nile, is from the
Yeah.
Nile. So if they are from the Nile, it means that is their birthplace. So if we want to say that everybody should be called from the river they originated from, in fact, half of the African people will be called Nile, Nilotes, because most of them, that is where they began. Most of them, that's where they began. All these people you see in the Great Lakes region,
Mm-hmm.
before they went to Lake Tanganyika, before they went to Lake Malawi, before they went to Lake Victoria, they started from the Nile, like their civilization started from the Nile. And remember, most of our tribes, there is a very big possibility that in the ancient time, we were living in the Sahara area.
So,
Majority of us.
so with the Nile,
Before.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to interrupt you like that, but okay, the Nile River. Explain to them how it goes down into the sub-Saharan Africa and the different countries in what they refer to as sub-Saharan Africa, the Nile River, because a lot of people associate in their mind when you say Nile River that is just in Egypt, ancient Egypt or Kemet, but in fact it goes on down into what they refer to as sub-Saharan Africa, into even some of the tributaries in that particular area as well. And you say our ancestors went up and down the Nile. That's because it was in there. So if you could elaborate on that a little bit.
So the source of the Nile is interior of Africa. So we are the source of the Nile. Without the center of Africa, there could be no Nile, there could be no water. There's water coming from Uganda, Rwanda, Kenya, maybe Burundi, Uganda. And this is the water that goes to Lake Victoria. And from there, there's some water breaking from Lake Victoria and heading towards the Nile. So if you go to Uganda, you will see there is a distinction. Like you can see this water is a different color, this water looks different. They will tell you, you see this one is going to the Nile. They can distinguish that. Now, you remember the other day, Egypt opened their big dam. After 14 years, something of the sort. And there was a war. The other day, I had told you about what was transpiring. Now, when the British colonized Egypt, they made a treaty with the people in Egypt, the modern day Egypt.
So they made a treaty.
Yes, so they made a treaty so that the Nile can belong to them. So these other African sub-Saharan, so-called sub-Saharan countries, we don't have a claim to the Nile. Are you getting now how we get, how your history is taken away from you? They know once they give you the river, you're going to claim the river and you're going to claim the history that belongs to the river and whatever is associated with the Nile River or the Nile Valley. No Nile Valley without the Nile River, isn't it? So they said in a statement that there is no other black country that is allowed to claim the Nile. So these people in Egypt were very comfortable and they were very happy. Now, we've already had lots of floods in Kenya alone, because there are rivers that are supposed to empty their water to the Lake Victoria. And because they empty their water into the Lake Victoria, it means if we build dams before the water reaches Lake Victoria, it means the water in Lake Victoria will be, the level will be low. So it will not be sufficient enough to reach Egypt. Because you see, when you're pushing water, even though the water has pressure, if it's not sufficient, it means it cannot reach the distance you want it to reach. So the water, first of all, must be sufficient. Number two, there must be pressure. You know how a river moves with the force. So there must be force. The water has to be, a certain quantity has to be sufficient. And at the same time, that place should not be a desert. Why? There should be rain from the mountains, because that rainwater is what is feeding the rivers, and these rivers are feeding the Nile. So when they denied access to these other African countries, I came to realize that we are having floods because nobody wants us to build a dam to control the waters. We cannot build dams to control the waters. Why? The water will be less. The water will be less. And if the water will be less, it will not reach the Nile. Dada, Sister Bosibore is talking to me.
Okay.
Yeah. Let me see what she is asking.
Okay.
She's saying she has something. She is getting difficulties with her phone. Let me tell her to keep trying.
Okay. While you doing that, I'm gonna tell them. We know that you all heard of the papyrus of Hunefer, and it says that we came from the beginning of the Nile. The beginning of the Nile is not in Kemet, in ancient Egypt. You all, they said this is the ancient Egyptian, came from the beginning of the Nile, where the god Happy dwells at the foothills of the mountains of the moon. So to find out where the source, where they came from, you have to go to see where are the mountains of the moon. And I'm gonna ask Dada about that as well to substantiate what I'm going to say. So it says that they say that the mountain of the moon is in the Rwenzori Mountains that borders Uganda and Congo. So they came from Congo and moved up. Is that correct, Dada? The mountain of the moon, where is that at? That's correct.
The mountains, Rwenzori. Rwenzori, it's a group of mountains. A mountain range. It's a mountain range. So some mountains, lot of mountains in one line, something like that. Yeah. So that is between Uganda and Congo.
Like I said.
Yes.
So this is in their text. The ancient Egyptians, they left this and said, this is where we originated from.
Yes. They say they can. Even, I think it's even in the scripture. It's in the scripture as well, that they came from the south. Yeah, it's in the scripture as well. So when we were denied access, we've been having floods near the Lake Victoria region. Sometimes it would rain so much until the graves of the people would open up.
Oh, wow.
Yes, because the water is so much. Yes. But you know why? Because of the British treaty with Egypt. Now, let's go to Ethiopia. Most of the water comes from the Ethiopian highlands and goes to, we have a lake there called Lake Tana. And so the Ethiopians said, we don't have electricity. We are a landlocked country. We don't have a sea. Why don't we just make our own hydropower? So these guys started threatening them. You know why? They even wanted America to get in the, by America I mean the ruling class and the politics. They wanted to intervene, like, you know, how can these people take the Nile? Because if Ethiopia harvests its water from its mountain and produces hydropower for its people and even exports some of the electricity to neighboring countries, it has empowered itself. Then it means they have reclaimed the Nile, which the people didn't want, and the British had made a treaty and they had told these people, be very comfortable, just to relax, don't worry, because the Nile is all yours. You see? So they never wanted any Black African to claim the Nile. Why do they not want you to claim the Nile? Because if you claim the Nile, you will claim the Nile Valley. You will claim the Nile Valley civilization. You will know the story. You will know what happened. You will claim Kemet. So they are trying to, because the British are the people who started Egyptology, isn't it?
Yes.
They are the ones who began the science of Egyptology. So they knew if these Black people get the information, claim this Nile, they're going to say the Nile is ours, we are the source, the Nile is ours, and then they're going to run with the history, you know. So they wanted this to be in check. That's why they made a treaty with Egypt. Now Egypt was really offended. They really offended, and even we were worried like there will be a war and there will be bombs. But you know what? They have made their Renaissance Dam one of the biggest dams in Africa. And they're gonna build, I think the Congolese are going to build one of the biggest in the world. They're planning to do that. Do you know the water that is in the River Congo? The water that is oh my goodness. They can do it. They can do it. Yes.
It can supply electricity for practically the world, from what I understand.
Exactly. And now the Mozambique, you know the goodness with Africa? When they see their brother has made it, now the fear goes away. They are so sad. And then in Mozambique, I think Mozambique also are going to build their hydroelectric, you know, their big dam, and from the Zambezi River. So you see the impact of these rivers. A river is life. A river is a source. Somebody wrote a book and called it The River and the Source. You know, the river of life. Once you want to know where is the origin of this river, where is the origin of these people, you can follow a river and find these people. This is what the Europeans did when they're saying, oh, Niger Congo. They started with a river, oh, Nilotics. They started with a river, oh, the Congolese. They started with a river, then, you know, no, this is Congo because this is their river. You know, Zambia, Zambezi River. So the rivers have a very big impact, you know. The Red Sea people, the Eritreans, the word Eritrea comes from the Eritrean Sea. Now, who owns the Red Sea? Who owns the Red Sea, my brothers and sisters? It is the Eritrean people. Eritrea, we have a country called Eritrea. Why? Because that is the Eritrean Sea. They can claim it. You see, imagine you are named after a river, you are named after a land. You have the right to claim it, isn't it? Yeah, so that is the short story of the Nile River. So the way you see us like this in East Africa, so much has happened, and a lot is happening because of suppressing, and the wars you see in East Africa, from Somalia, from Darfur, Sudan, all this is to suppress the Black people and to remove them from, you know, from their, you know, what God intended them to be and to do, all right? And taking their power from them. They know as they take your power from you, and that will be it. All right, so I finished the summary. So once you find the trade routes on the Sahara, Atlantic, Red Sea, Mediterranean, South America, Caribbean, you realize they did arrive before Columbus, right? So our people might have arrived later. Some of our people in slave ships, but it doesn't mean they didn't have a civilization back home in Africa, or their ancestors had not contributed to civilization. Slavery and colonization was done to crush and destroy the African civilization. They burnt libraries, destroyed statues, especially the noses, so that the African civilization is forgotten, erased from the face of the earth. So the world will not have a balance. I promise you, my people, this one is a revelation I got, that the world is not going to have a balance, be it time, be it climate, be it agriculture, food, medicine. They will not succeed in their pursuit to understand space, travel to other stars, discover the yet to be discovered heavenly bodies, unless they involve the native people. They are not going to succeed in, let them build stethoscopes, what do we call them? Telescopes, stethoscopes. Telescopes. Let them, yes, let them build the big satellites. They are not going to see those stars unless they involve us. The same way they involved the Dogon people is when they got the limelight, isn't it? So they are not going to discover a thing. It will take another 1,000 years to discover if they don't involve us. Even in medicine, they're not going to deal with this global warming. They're not going to deal with pollution. They're not going to deal with health issues unless they involve us. So we are the first people of the earth.
Yes, we are.
We are the atoms. We are the basic and we are the fundamentals when it comes to knowledge, time, and spirituality.
Yes.
Black melanated people can interpret the codes in the universe. All right? I didn't say Black people are superior, but the difference is the Most High gave them immense ability to do so. It's embedded in their DNA. Yes. They are grounded. They can create civilization in harmony and in a manner, in a good way, in a good in harmony with the earth, without polluting the environment, without killing animals to extinction, without exploitation of water, soil, and rare minerals, without enslaving other people. The Black people can still create wealth.
Yes.
We don't need to enslave somebody to be rich, to become rich, to own a bank, to own a plantation. We don't need to enslave people to work for us without pay, so that we can be rich even without doing any kind of wickedness, because we have the power. And without machines, we can move huge granite blocks, build pyramids, build great things without machines, because the power is in us. We are not telling other people that we are superior to them. We didn't say that. We are just saying that there is a small favor that the Most High gave to us. And he didn't take it away from us, because in Christian church, we always said about grace. Yes, we still have the grace, people. We still have that grace. We messed, but the Most High didn't take that away from us unless otherwise. So when we get together, when we start relearning our history, when we start understanding who we are and get together, and change our ways. If we were polluting, we stop polluting the environment, we start eating right, we start doing farming right, we do everything right, then the power will come back to us. And there will be a balance. So that was just a small summary on why we are discussing these people And I've told you, Dad has brought up the topic about the Nile. That is what we've been going through, and we've prayed for the last 10 years. And all the American and European banks refused to give Ethiopia loans. Ethiopia built the dam by their own money.
They sure did.
And yes, and 9% of the money was accumulated from their diasporans and other people. They could work and give the money to their government. So this is history. They didn't believe somebody could really use the waters that was supposed to go to the Nile, you know. So they said, we built the Nile, but on our own land.
She's on. Yes, Bosibore is on. Habari, Dada.
Welcome, Bosibore. I don't know if you're speaking, you're muted.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, praises to the Most High. I've been trying to log in the whole time. I was panicking.
Welcome.
Oh, hallelujah. Thank you. I watched your podcast from the last time. Oh my God. There was just a wealth of information. Oh, I loved it. Thank you.
Welcome, Dada. Karibu. Karibu sana.
Habari yako?
Salama. Bwairire.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Yeah.
Welcome, Dada. You're not late. You're just on time.
Okay, good. I was really freaking out, panicking. Okay. All right. Hallelujah.
Amen.
So while they y'all getting yourselves together, Dada Bosibore, I want to mention this quick, go back to what Dada Tabitha said about in the Bible, just to show you all that she knows exactly what she's talking about. She's not talking. We want to go to this particular passage about the character in the Bible that they refer to as Abraham, or some know as Bana. Mm-hmm. Okay, so where it says, and Abraham went up out of Egypt, and he and his wife and all he had, and Lot, and they went where? South. Mm-hmm. So that is what she's referencing. And so when you look at it, some will say he went into the Negev. So they hide things in words because they have changed up the Bible, because we know that Bible is African culture. So they changed up words, places, etc. So they will have the Negev. So when you go back and you just go all the way back, like Sister Tabitha said, to the beginning, you will see what they have hidden. So when you go and look up the word Negev, you will see they would say it means dry or parched. You go even further, and then they would say it means desert. So if he went up and out south into the desert, that is sub-Sahara. Mm-hmm. And they said he was going, that's where he was going for the promised land, what they refer to as sub-Sahara Africa.
Sorry, guys, I got kicked out.
Oh, goodness.
Welcome back.
I apologize, guys.
It's okay.
I know somebody was trying to ask me a question. Please say something.
I think it was what you were just reading.
Yeah, I was just piggybacking off of what Dada Tabitha had said about how in the Bible it talks about the South, how we came from the South. We were talking about how Kemet is not our beginning.
Yes, for sure.
They just kept meticulous documentation. And not only that, there's places in what they refer to as sub-Saharan Africa, they have not even penetrated yet to even get to documents that our ancestors have left. So it's just that they have easy accessibility in Northeast Africa.
Right. That's so true. And if I can add, if that's okay, can I add?
Oh, yes. Okay. Go ahead.
So if you look at the Kenyan, let's just start from Kenyan history because I'm Kenyan, but we'll expand over to the other Bantus. But Kenyan history, you will find that there are 7 tribes. Okay, you will find the Bagusi. I belong to the Bagusi. You'll find the Kikuyu, the Meru, the Embu, the Kuria, the Suba, and the Kamba. You will find that I just call them the Kenya 7, the 7 Kenyan Bantu tribes. They say 7 brothers left Egypt. Now, 7 brothers doesn't mean physical 7 brothers, but it's 7 tribes, right? They left Egypt, and we came down and we walked from Egypt along the Nile. But why did we run away from Egypt? Now, if you look this up, you'll find it. If you Google, there's something called the Misri legend. The Misri legend. Now, the Bagusi will tell you when the Europeans came to ask us, where did you come from? We tell them we entered Kenya along the Nile. We ran away from Misri. We didn't know the word Egypt, but my tribe knows the word Misri. Okay, so they say we ran away from Misri and ended up in Kenya due to the hunger and slavery. Now, my tribe say that. The other tribe that is not even Bantu are Kalenjin. The Kalenjin are Nilots, but the Kalenjin have a history of being in Egypt, and they had a prophet who got them out of Egypt. They call it Kajipta. And in Kalenjin right now, the word for a country is Kemet. So the Kalenjin also talk about a migration out of Egypt together with the Bantus. And the Kalenjin will tell you that they had a prophet that had a magic stick, okay, that split the waters. Now, somebody please tell me what that sounds like.
Wait a minute, sister. Wait a minute. You can't just throw that out there and keep going. We gotta park there for a moment. Let's park there. So you said they had a stick.
A magic stick.
A magic stick that they used to part the water.
Yeah, and the prophet was called who? Moses.
Wait a minute. What was the name in Africa?
In the Kalenjin language, the name is Musaiga.
Musaiga.
Now, if you do Musa is short form for Moses. Even in Swahili, Musa is Moses.
Yeah.
Right?
So we see now how they have taken our culture, changed it up, put it in there, and repackaged it, and presented as if it's theirs.
Oh, that's Western culture for you, honey.
Keep going, my dear. Keep going.
Now, to confirm this, because people would want to fight me, and many people want to because they say Egypt is their civilization. There's only one Kenyan Egyptologist, and his name is Kipkoech Arap Sambu. So even Kipkoech Arap Sambu has those records, and when the Europeans came, they were wondering why the Kalenjin was singing about Musaiga with a stick who split the waters. And they were like, this sounds weird. But then the Kalenjin also have a clan called Yakober. You see what I'm saying? They have a clan called Yakober. Now, and they're not even Bantu. Now, Kalenjin have a tribe called the Midian, okay, or the Midiani. You will see that there are Midianites in the Bible.
Yes, that's what Moses. They said Moses stayed where that was his father-in-law Jethro was a Midianite.
Yes.
Bam. Now, Kipkoech Arap Sambu says that Midian can actually be traced to a clan back with the Kalenjin. So, and then also now we have the Meru. Now the Meru story. Meru is one of the brothers that came with us, the Bantu 7, the Abagusi. Meru have a more detailed story. The Meru talk about a prophet that is called Komenju. He's called Komenju. Komenju means the handsome one, the good one. Okay. They say Komenju was born in Egypt. He was such a handsome boy. But because at the time they had such an evil ruler, that demanded that boys get killed, people decided, to hide their children, and some children were killed. But
wait. You dropping all these bombs and then you just going on like as if. Wait a minute, hold on. So it was this evil, wicked ruler in Egypt, ancient Egypt, that was killing boys
Yep. So the Meru people, in fact, there is a Catholic priest that has written a book that has to do with the Meru people, and he says the Meru people are definitely Jewish or Hebrew because of their traditions, some of the traditions that they have. Now, and I read this as a child. It was a priest. That book is still there. Now, the word for a pyramid is what? Meru. It's MR. It's a Meru. That's a pyramid too. Now, they say that the Meru were viziers in Egypt. So, anyway, Meru talk about Komenju, and Komenju wanted his people to be set free. But the king set out so many tasks. Now, the tasks that they put out, the stories that have to do with the tasks, are not exactly the same as the Bible, but they talk about how he came up with tests for them. And one of them was to make a shoe that had hair on both sides. Okay? So people thought, and they couldn't really quite think of a way to make a shoe using, animal skin where both sides were hairy. And then Komenju goes and uses a cow testicle, and there's a way that he makes that shoe so inside and out are both hairy. So there are so many other tests that they were given, and I can look it up I can find the article right now. I have it on my computer, and maybe read it for you.
So these are stories that are in different, I don't like to call them tribes, the different ethnic kingdoms. Yes, thank you. That talks about these stories that are in the Bible with a little variation maybe, but it's in their culture that's been passed down. And see, we in the West that are awakened, we know this. We know that the Bible, because we have been told this. Within, I'm talking about. Nobody told us, but within told us that that Bible is our culture that has been twisted and changed up.
And that's so amazing. Like when I heard there was an African American that first had that revelation, like in the 1800s or something, I said he was just way ahead of his time. Way ahead. He must have sounded crazy to everybody else.
Oh, yeah, like we do today. We sound crazy to our family members over here. So it's nothing new under the sun. So just like he was ahead of his time and he was getting this revelation, so a group of us in the diaspora, because we know that parts of the books of the Bible were taken out, because there's one, and I think in the book of... it's not Enoch. What's the other one that says, "In the land of your captivity, you will await Jasher," and it's reference. It's reference in the Bible, but they took it out of the 1611 King James Bible that says, "In the land of your captivity." So that's us in the diaspora, in America, in Mexico, in the Caribbean. You will awaken to who you are. So it's nobody telling us. A lot of it is coming from within, because we know that our ancestors are inside of us. And Mama, I don't want to take over. Mama, me and Mama Nicholas was talking about the tree and the analogy of the tree, and how our ancestors are the root and we are the branches of that. Yes. So we are all, if you are connected to that tree, that is your source. So that source is within us. So they probably trying to figure out how is it that these people know these things, because a lot of things over here is coming from within us. It's coming from within us. The awakening really started in America first. We started waking up like, wait a minute, that book is us. It's talking about us. We the people. And you see, it's spreading. It is growing rapidly.
Yep. There was actually also a man in Uganda in the, I want to say the 1800s or early 1900s, who went and read the Bible, and then he had a revelation that God told him that, they need to worship the way, the old people, worship in the Bible. Now, eventually they got infiltrated with other foreign Jewish organizations. And but ultimately it was so easy for the Africans to adjust, because the culture, the biblical culture, Bantu culture is just about the same, For example, I'll show you one thing. Now, in the Bible, I think Prophet Isaiah, the Most High tells him, go out and get the wailing women, professional mourners. Now, we have professional mourners in Africa. My tribe, especially my tribe, we do. Okay. So you'll never find somebody who is going for a funeral and there's only 3 people crying for him. You will never find that. Why? Because we also have professional mourners who play a very cathartic role. Okay. Now,
Wow.
this is a professional mourners help to prevent, and you know, unlike what Western culture says, oh, they pay people to cry for them. What a bizarre people. No, that was never their purpose. Here's the thing. Professional mourners were there specifically to avoid pathological grieving. Okay? So, because you find in modern culture, like look at Jackie Kennedy, people are like, oh, don't cry, just pat your eyes, be classy with it. You know, in Africa, you are encouraged to wail and mourn. And in fact, sometimes in some cultures, if you didn't wail and mourn, they'll say you're the one who killed the person. Why? Because things where people just didn't mourn or just never came to terms with death, you know, it can end up being pathological. So you'll have a kid saying, I have, my daddy didn't die. There's a plate for him there. We prepare one every day for him. And you're like, what? Because it's pathological. Now, I remember one time during my cousin's funeral, there were professional mourners. Now, no one goes and says, oh, I'm going to the market to get professional mourners. There's nothing like that. Okay. And this is just, for lack of a better term, I call them professional mourners. It's actually a derogatory term. These people, I remember when my cousin's husband was being buried, and the minute he was being lowered in the ground, I remember my cousin's wife just about fainted. But the mourners from the back started screaming. And then because I saw my cousin, I just started crying because I had the mourners screaming. I didn't know they were professional mourners. I just had screaming from the back and crying and wailing. I just started crying. My cousin started crying. Everybody started crying. Because some of these mourners, they know the resonance that will cause you to let that pain out. You know? And then, I mean, there's so much. The idea of women not having sex during the period is African culture. Now, like I always say in my channel, you know, I say that my people are the lost tribe of Israel. But for me to make such a bold claim, surely the language should show something. You know, language should show something. I just can't make a bold claim. Oh, we're the lost tribe of Israel. So what? How can you prove it? Now, in my culture, the word for circumcision, you ready? The word for circumcision is called Iburu. I-B-U-R-U. Now, remember when Abraham, the Abrahamic covenant was made, the decree was every male, every child in the household, grown or young, had to be circumcised.
Yes.
And from there they became, you know, basically, you know, the Abrahamites, should I say for lack of a better term, Israel, the Abrahamites. Now, from here, you have the concept of Hebrew. Why? Because being Hebrew was also marked with the idea of male circumcision. In my language, Iwuru is circumcision. It's where you get the word Hebrew. Okay?
Hey.
Right.
Wow.
So I-B-U-R-U. Now, and from the word Iburu, you know, it's derived from the concept of Ebururu. Ebururu is like a butterfly or, you know, moth or you know, little flying insect that undergo metamorphosis. Iburu.
Grasshopper, dada.
Grasshopper.
Locust.
Yes, locust. Yeah, because they undergo, you know, one of those things that undergo metamorphosis. So, Iburu and Iruruka is the concept of flying, sorry. And you will find that even, you know, in ancient language, the planet Nibiru, I think that was with the Sumerians or something, Nibiru, they talked about the planet.
Yes.
Yeah. It just means a transitional planet. So the concept of Iburu, Iruruka, it's a concept of crossing over and passing over. That's exactly what it means in my language. Iburu is to cross over or pass over. Okay?
Wow.
And the word Ivrit, it means exactly the same. So now,
every.
Huh?
You say every?
Yeah, Ivrit, it means the same thing, to cross over or to pass over. It's the idea of, you know, a transition into a new thing.
Because I think that word, what you mentioned, the last one, every, that's in West Africa too, over there in Ghana as well.
Yes, that I've had like revelations of that. People talk about it. I know that I have a friend from Ghana as well. So you see, even the idea of Hebrew came from simple Bantu word Iburu to crossover. Okay. So also, other than that, let's leave the circumcision ceremony and the Abrahamic covenant. And you will find that the most tribes that circumcise in Africa are who? Bantu. When the Europeans came, they never taught us how to circumcise. Never. That's something they found us doing. And it's almost, in my tribe, it's taboo to marry a man that's not circumcised.
Can I share something real quick? What I want you to give me some good information that we need, but to show you the connection there, somehow it's just innate. I remember my older brother, my oldest son. He said, "You're getting him circumcised, right?" He said, "You know, we have to circumcise." Now, this was years ago because our oldest son is in his 30s. So he said, "We circumcise our boys." This was years ago. He said this to me. Where did he get that from? Where? I never thought about it.
Really?
No, I never thought about it. He just said, "You getting him circumcised, right? Because we circumcise."
Oh, no, Yahweh.
I wasn't awakened. I was not awakened. He wasn't awakened. We didn't know nothing about none of this stuff we're talking about. This was over 30 years ago, you all. So fast forward today. How did he know that? What made him say that to me?
Oh. Wow, out of the mouth of babes and suckling, has God ordained his wisdom. That's what they say.
Yes.
It's so funny, but I'm telling you, the Lord, and where I feel like there has been so much oppression, the Lord tends to be merciful in terms of revelation. That's why I say, like me, when I first had the revelation that we are, Hebrews, I would doubt it. I'd ask God, give me proof. Give me proof. What is my proof language? African Americans still have that language, but they still got the revelation anyway. That's why I say they're way ahead of their time. Now, when I started this thing, and when I had that dream that I need to go look into my culture, the first word that I ever looked at, because in linguistics, there's something called core vocabularies. There are things that people just don't change, like the name of God, the name of the sun, the name of the moon, just things like that. That when you study language, if I say that we have ancient Egyptian origin, then in my language, I should find Egyptian words as well. Okay, if I'm claiming to be of Hebrew descent. Okay, now the name for God in Hebrew, and the first letter is El. El means a king, a bull, a champion, a leader. In Ekegusi, because we do not have the letter L, it becomes Eri. Eri means a bull, a champion, a leader, a chief, a winner. That's Eri. Okay, tell me the difference between L and Eri.
The R and L.
But they're
interchangeable.
But they're interchangeable, yep. Because in Bantu, you'll find that in Bantu sometimes when they're learning English, instead of saying please, they'll say please. That's just Bantu. You see. And when I was young, when I was learning English, I'd be like, please, because that's just how, I pronounce. Then with time, you watch movies and you learn how to pronounce words correctly. So the first letter, which is L, is the most high. In the Kegusi, Eri is the most high. Now you will see that in Abagusi culture, and I think sister can support me over here. Elders will never, ever in their lives go for a meeting without a rod, without a walking stick, a rod, a staff. Okay, that's what makes you a leader. Now, my dad is an elder. I have never seen him go for a meeting without a staff, and if he doesn't have it, he will not preside over that meeting. Okay. Now, if you look at the Hebrew word, a leader is the combination of Aleph and Lamed. Lamed is a walking stick, okay?
Yeah.
Because every L must have a walking stick, a rod. That's why we say thy rod and thy staff, they comfort me, because the Most High is L. So even linguistically, you can see the walking stick, you will see it. In real life, elders will go to meetings holding rods and stuffs. You have to. Now, if you look at the two presidents,
how did they? I know how they got our information, but how were they so clever over all these many years to take our culture and switch it up? Because
it can't be clever. There's nothing. I don't think anything has to do with clever. It's the fact that we were under a spell. Because now I'm like, why didn't I ever see this? I'm like, how did I never see this? You know, and the Most High is so aggressive, let me tell you. When it came to him revealing to me, I had told God, I'm tired of this Bible of yours. I don't care. And you know why I told God that? Because I'd experienced so much racism. People didn't even know that I was African, but the minute they see me, they would react a certain way. For me, that was so bizarre. I was like, I can't live in this country. The racism is just crazy.
It's off the chain. So y'all know what we've been dealing with for over 400 years over here. That's why we've been fighting. And that's why you see the young people saying our ancestors are telling us, don't do anything, just rest. That's what the young people are saying. Our ancestors telling us don't do nothing but rest. We've been fighting ever since we've been here. We've been fighting. We're tired.
So much. And that's what, like, I didn't understand, or I didn't have a tidbit of what is it to be an African American until I experienced, you know, the discrimination. Because even before I opened my mouth, somebody's like, I go to a store, they're like, food, EBT, EBT. And there's nothing wrong with EBT if you need it, but what makes you think I'm on EBT? You know what I'm saying? Because when they see a color, a certain sense color, they have a certain stereotype. So anyway, now, if you look at the second letter in Hebrew, the second letter is bait. And you can look at in the Strong's Concordance. The bait is a house, right?
Right.
Yes.
Bait is a house in Hebrew. Now, if you and you look at the Strong's Concordance, the spelling is B-A-Y-I-T, right? Now, if you add an O at the end, it becomes Bayito. And that's something with Bantu languages. Not all, but many will end with a vowel as opposed to a consonant. So you'll find the word Bayito means members of the household. Just like Hebrew, bait, members of the household or a house. That's what it means. So you just add an O, you get Baito. You will find that in Arabic, bait is a house. In Swahili, Baiti, Baiti, B-A-I-T-I is a house. So they will be out here saying Bantu is a category of its own. But tell me why the word for a house, bait, Baiti in Swahili, okay, for a house. Tell me why it matches just exactly as the Hebrew word bait. How could we not have shared one ancestor in terms of language? You see? So,
exactly.
Yes.
You know, and the Arabs do not want people to know that. They got their language from the Bantus. Because if we know the truth, Arab supremacy will lose and you will know who Abraham is. Okay? Now, you see, if I can tell you, Eri in my language is called Beito, Waito, are members of the household. Vieto, like Vieto, is like inanimate things. You see? Things that belong to us. So, members of the household, Swahili, Baiti. Then you have Gimel, the third letter, which is represented by what? A camel. Or a man running. Now, Gimel, they say, is a camel. In Swahili, the other name for camel is what? From the word Gimel becomes Jamal. Jamali. Jamali is a camel. So, and even as you go on within that alphabet, I think I did do something on Clubhouse with the Hebrew alphabet, and you will see the African origins of this name. So if the name of the Most High is Eri, now I will show you how the name of, hang on a second. Ooh, I've written some things here. Okay, so now you'll find the name Yahuwah, right? Let's start because all praises to the Most High. Yahuwah has to do with the idea of, you know, the Most High, he who exists, he who is always there. If anybody agrees with me, please say yes. The name of
Yes,
Yahuwah.
omnipresent.
Exactly. Now, in Swahili, when you say Yahuwah, Yahuwah means he is always there. So I can say, Sister Nzambi, Yahuwah Zoom, meaning she's always in Zoom. You see that? And you can say, Sister Nzambi, Yahuwah in Sabbath. She's always in Sabbath school. So Yahuwah in Swahili just means to exist, exactly the same as the name Yahuwah.
Wow.
Okay.
So it means to exist. The one who exists or to exist.
Yeah, to exist or to be there.
Always there.
Always there. Yahuwah. Right? Then remember
so
that
the word is ours anyway, Yahoo.
I'm sorry, what?
So that word is ours too, Yahoo.
Yahoo. Mm-hmm.
So now, what I'm thinking is in the Bible, when God is speaking to Masa, and Masa asks him, "Who shall I say sent me?" And he said, "I am that I am." So, so he easily could have said Yahuwah
or
Yahoo.
Exactly, because also Israel did not have one accent. That's the one thing people fail to realize. Standardizing accents is a very European thing. Standardizing spellings, that's a very European thing. You should expect variation. If they had 12 tribes, they should be 12 ways of pronunciation.
Yeah.
So when you see that name, even, how the names of the Most High, you will see them within Bantu language, in the sense that the name Eri, from the name Eri, the Most High says, my people who are called by my name, right? Now,
yes,
Eri is God. But when I say Ere, it means him. You just add an E at the end instead of an I. So it's the same consonant. It's actually the same thing, because it's Aleph Lamed. Okay? And then those are the main consonants. So Ere means him or her. However, in Hebrew, El is God, right? But Ele with an L. Ele means these inanimate things. Why? Because everything that exists has the essence of God in it.
Yes.
Yes. That's what you find in Spanish, they'll say El Barito. Why? Because the idea of pointing towards something that exists means it has the essence of God.
It's interesting you said this. I was listening to this video. I didn't listen to all of it, but this man was talking about, he was from Ghana, I do believe, and he was saying, and I was able to follow him because I know and I understand some of the language and the culture. We've been in this way for quite some time now. Still learning, still growing. But he was saying, when, he said, they said God is in heaven. He said, when you say God is in heaven, then you saying God is not there. So in other words, he was saying, just like what you said, the creator is in everything. And we know this. That is why our ancestors, they thought our ancestors were worshiping trees. No, they knew that the essence, the essence of the creator was in the tree, in everything. And so that is why we had the utmost respect for everything. That's how you know that culture and that Bible is talking about us, because when you look at the other people, the colonizers, they don't have respect like that for the things of nature, the things of the creator, that they have no respect for it.
Not at all. Because even their language will tell you. And you see, even with the idea of Yah, you will see that in Bantu language, the way Bantu is different from European language is that we work with agglutinative morphology. All right. So agglutinative morphology means that for you to create a word, the main way in Kibantu that you create sentences is by joining two independent lexicons to create a new word. For example, you will see traits of that with the Gen Zs, okay? When they say branch or mamija, it's a combination of breakfast and lunch, right? You get brunch. So in Kibantu, that's called agglutination. Now, you have traits of that in the English language, but English is an isolative language. You don't form sentences from joining two independent lexicons unless, in words like, for example, like black box or, lockmaster, things that are just that you can join together, right, to create another word. So you will see that aspect within Bantu. So, for example, when you have the name Elia or Elijah. Okay,
Mhm.
Elia in Ekewusi. When I say Elia means when you're pointing towards something that's far off. It can be on the horizontal distance, area, or it can also be towards the heavens, area. Say if you're seeing a bird flying off into the horizon, you'll say, area. Remember, Elijah flew into the horizon using that chariot. So if somebody saw the chariot, they'd say, area. You understand?
Yes.
Elia. Now, another time that he manifested his name as Elia is when he ran ahead of Ahab and Jezebel's chariot. People were like, Elia! He's disappeared in the corner. Now, if you take the word Eri and Yah, in this sentence, Yah is used to show distance, okay? Eri is used to point towards a certain direction. Okay, so Eri and Yah are used to show distance, right? So if you take the word Yah independently in Ekewusi, it means of or pertaining to something. So if I say Nzambi Zola, is a what? If I say she's a let me think of something. Help me, sister. For example, like say if I say Nzambi, say his wife, yeah, the man standing next to him. So of or belonging to, okay? It just means of or belonging. Again, the essence of God is in anything that exists. Using the word Yah, you will see that. Yah is also a suffix that's used to represent light, right? Light, goodness. Yeah. So, Taya is light. Mbuya is good. Okay, so the Yah at the end in this essence is used to represent goodness. That's why it says that every good and perfect thing comes from the Father of light, in whom there is no variable, okay, or shadow of turning. So every good thing, you will see that you see the word good, Mbu Yah, has a Yah at the end. Ta Yah, light. Every good and perfect things comes from the Father of light, okay. In Xhosa language, the word Elichle, E-L-I, that's the name of the Lord, and H-L-E, Elichle. Elichle just means beautiful, glorious, it's just gorgeous. Why? Because every good and perfect thing comes from the Father of light, in whom there is no variable or shadow of turning. Okay? So you will see that aspect in African language to show you that everything that exists has the essence of the Most High. Now, if we go to the other verse in the Bible, let me see this one. Where is it? Lamentations 3:24. Okay, and you will see also Psalm 142. In Lamentations 3:24, the first line says, "The Lord is my portion." And Psalm 142 verse 5 says, "The Lord is my portion in the land of the living." Right? Now, what's a portion? Can anybody help me? What is a portion?
You said
portion.
Yeah.
Portion would be some.
Some. A division, right?
Yes.
Okay. Now, in my language, a share or a portion or a division. Say I have food and I say this over here, this is your portion. A portion is called what? Engeri. Engeri, which is E-N-G. You have an apostrophe, then E-R-I. Eri is the name of God. Eri, okay? Engeri. Now, the word for an apportionment in Ekewusi, when you break it down, is the word nga, which is N-G apostrophe nga. And then Eri is God, which means the word for apportion is to give, a division, which is nga, and Eri is God. The Lord is my portion.
What's going on? What's the word? It's about to awakening, heard all over the world. What's going on? What's the word? It's about to awakening, heard all over the world. Hey Lève-toi, it's time to wake up. Don't hit the snooze button. We gotta gird up, put your sire on. Here's the word, you know. We're a light to the nations. We gotta let it show. We were called by the Most High.